In this video I'll be delving into the massive success that is Helldivers 2, going over why I think it's really so good. Now there's a few reasons why Helldivers 2 is so successful, but I'm going to be going over one later on that I don't think many people are talking about or giving it credit for, and I think it's definitely worth mentioning. Some people may chalk up its success to the fact that the game manages to balance a fine line between feeling both challenging and rewarding at the same time. Let's face it, there aren't many games that can get away with giving no XP for those enemy kills and can have you spending up to 30 minutes playing through a mission only to fail it at the end and then get absolutely zero for it. However, with Helldivers 2 you kind of chalk it up to a bit of inadequacy on your part or your teammates' part, and you go back into the next mission a little bit wiser, hoping that you've learned from your mistakes. Could it possibly be that the game doesn't take itself too seriously and instead just tries to entertain and let you have an element of fun discovering what loadouts and playstyles you find best? Or perhaps it's because the game is like the old school classic Starship Troopers and of course Terminator had a baby, and that baby grew up to believe in freedom, liberty and wanted to dispense democracy throughout the galaxy.
Become a legend.
Or of course another one that you could think about is going to be the fact that you can actually farm premium currency in game. I really hope more games designers do this, as it's an absolute amazing way. If you want to spend some money on it, it's perfect if you want to fast track your way, but being able to farm them really includes everyone in the experience and can see people unlocking rewards at their own pace. Or maybe it's because it had a flawless launch on its day of release.
Right? Wrong.
Okay, definitely not this last one. Helldivers 2, like a lot of the games nowadays, had an absolutely awful release. And for nearly a week or even maybe a little bit longer than that, people, and myself included, couldn't even get onto the game. At one point I thought that this right here was actually my screensaver because I've been staring at it for so long. And then when they finally did fix it with an update, they managed to break the PlayStation 5 crew's experience because none of them could log on for almost half a day. In fact, this launch could have put a big tarnish on a game like this. So why then is Helldivers 2 so massively popular, and why were people sticking around even with some issues going on? In fact, the rise of this game is pretty crazy and it only seems to be getting stronger, whereas a lot of the bigger studios lately bringing out AAA games seem to have been failing left and right. Now in my eyes there's two reasons why this is working out so well for Helldivers 2. One, I think that the game not being a AAA title has worked massively in its favour. The price tag alone for £35 is an absolute bargain with how much you can play on the game, how much you can invest and how much fun and entertainment you're actually going to get from the game itself. If however I'd paid £80 rather than the $35, I think especially at that launch I'd have been absolutely devastated. When you pay a premium price you expect a premium service, and not being able to play a game for a few days or even up to a week, I think there would have been an awful lot more refunds going on. Now don't get me wrong, this did still upset some people, myself included, but because of the price tag and because you knew the studio was a little bit smaller than the big branded games, I think a lot of gamers gave it the benefit of the doubt and a little bit of leeway, especially when they could see that they were doing a lot of patches and updates within it. In fact, a lot of this wasn't really through their own fault, because there was no way they could have known the massive success this game would have been. The fact that the game has this many players to what they expected, and the fact that the servers, since they've been updated, touch wood, seem to be absolutely amazing now, and I don't really see much lag, disconnects, and I haven't been greeted with that awful message anymore, so whatever they've done definitely seems to be working, and I think a few bigger companies could probably take a page out of their books. Now look, in reality all of these, barring obviously the terrible launch, are really going to help this game to be both successful and popular. The game's compelling, it's got some great gameplay to it, and it really makes you feel like you want to log in just to do one more mission. You want to grab yourself some more medals, grab yourself some more unlocks, or just to dispense some liberty to your enemies. But there's definitely something with this that I think a lot of people seem to be missing, and that's that the enemy AI and the enemy models are absolutely amazing in this game, as well as being completely savage. I found myself dying in this game an awful lot, and I mean a lot. Early game, later game, I fell over way more than I'm probably used to, and considering all I do is play games and make content on them, I wasn't really used to this. However, after quite some time I came to the conclusion it wasn't the game's fault, it wasn't even my own fault. What it mainly came down to was that I'd gotten used to lazy AI. In a lot of games I'd taken advantage of how easy it was to take out or avoid enemies, as in most cases if things were shooting at me I could strafe or run a little bit faster to one of the sides in order to avoid everything. If something was too tough for me, most of the time I could outrun it and then go far enough in range to make them stop looking for me, or just to get stuck on an edge somewhere, or if all else fails I'll just overwhelm them with pure damage. In this game that doesn't always work. You have to be calculating, you have to be looking for the weak spots, you have to learn the enemy types and what exactly works best on them, and honestly, it'd been quite some time since I'd actually done this, and it was like I was training my brain all over again. In Helldivers 2, if you see a standard automaton trooper with a rocket launcher, your first thought is going to be to outrun it, move fast in one direction, as in most games, the missile is just going to fly straight past you. However, in Helldivers 2, the odds are that that thing is going to hit you slap bang in the face and end your day very fast, probably one-shotting you most times. Same again, if you see a charger and you try to outrun it, they're going to trample you, and even if they don't, the tracking on them is absolutely amazing. They'll slow down, they'll turn, they'll do everything they can to absolutely smash you to pieces. So you better find a really nice way to dodge, dive or avoid it, and then take advantage of their squishy parts, which sounded a lot better in my head than it does out loud. However, you know exactly what I mean, you really do need to learn the enemy's traits and how to counter them. The enemies in this are relentless and track, shoot, flame, throw grenades better than in most of the AAA titles I've played over the years. Want to take out a factory? Sure, you can decimate all of them with some airstrikes, or you can throw a grenade in a little vent, but you can also come up with a few other tactics that can help you take things out. For example, you could snipe it from quite a ways off and take things out without anyone in the vicinity even knowing you were there. In fact, as well as having to use your reflexes and create a nice loadout for your character, this game has made me do something I haven't done for quite some time, and that's that it's made me think. Arrowhead Game Studios may not have expected this much success, but they definitely deserve it in my eyes, and I can't wait to see what they've got in store for us further down the line, as it looks like we're going to be getting vehicles, mechs, maybe a possible update with a new enemy type, and a whole bunch more planned in their roadmap. Right, that's enough from me. I'm going to get back to dispensing a whole bunch of democracy by pretty much taking things out with my breaker. As always, Full Fence Gaming, take care. I'll see you on the next day.